Alrighty, Doc here from North America. We're pretty much closed. I'm not even getting some data. Matter of fact, all my currencies are not even coming in today. I'm not sure what that's all about, but I'm getting some data, and you can see up on the screen there. There's the S&P 500. It's in a weekly buy from last week. Let's take a look at the dollar index. What is that? Volatility is not available. Okay. Let's go over to the dollar index. I don't know if the dollar index is moving around either, but we'll see. Where is it at? Right there. I can't even get my CME one. At least there you go. They got that. That's good. And I think that's today too, isn't it? Yes, that is. So you can see dollar is still pressing down. It's I'm just going to skip that ad. There we are. It's pressing down, and it's again, same game, different day. The dollar overall is finding ways to go down against other currency pairs, and that has been going on for a while now. It's just it got way overpriced. The fundamentals, as we try to talk about them, they're very hard to talk about because fundamentals are basically controlled by the QE at this point in time. And at the same time, I know it's odd, there's a second control, and that is people are, as normal, people like to do the same thing they've been doing over and over again. So money managers are still trying to follow, they're still trying to follow the old ways, but they just don't work. Hence why a lot of funds are underwater, not just this year, but hedge funds overall have been losing money for years now because the fundamentals are just not there. It's been very hard for them to outperform the indices. And that question mark came up, I guess, years ago now about the 2 and 20. In other words, you take a 2% management fee and 20% of the profits. And if they're not outperforming markets and they're actually losing money now for over a decade on the average, since the beginning of quantitative easing, basically. I mean, there are a few, Tapper and a few of the big money managers that, were very, consistent about just being long and not looking. But the ones who've tried to pick, as they like to call themselves, stock pickers or currency pickers, have gotten beat up pretty much. Same thing with the currencies. The dollar just ran and ran and ran and ran. And in the end, ran way too far. I'm taking a sip of my tea as we speak here. And from that, markets couldn't really, did not represent the real facts. And then you can see the odd political situation between the COVID, the global pandemic thing, it just, the fundamentals have basically been thrown away. In other words, they used to say, trust the science or follow the science. But when they don't like what the science says, then they take it away from us. Same thing with the fundamentals. Earnings, interest rates, inflation, consumer prices, producer prices, future growth of economies, increasing population, less increasing population. All these fundamentals have been pick and choose. In other words, when the numbers fit them, they talk about them. When the numbers don't fit them, there's silence, as we would say. There's crickets, nothing. You hear no real information. So it has become very confusing. It really has. But let's see now. Let's see if we can let's go to the euro this morning. And we're not getting it on our screen. At least last time I clicked on it, it didn't want to pop up. So we're going to give you a J4X computer euro and see what they're doing with it this morning. See, I got a blank screen for that right there. So let's go over to the euro and take a peek.
Market data.
We are in a daily buy. I saw that yesterday. And we're in a weekly buy. Matter of fact,
market data connection re-established.
Let's see, where's it at? So, right there, there it is. Let me go down to that. 217 today. or tomorrow now it is, I guess it'll be. And let's open that up. There we are. So there's the euro. Let's put the euro up on the screen there. Where is it at? Right there. There it is. There's the euro. It's trading at 108.26. We're getting no quote at all right here. I wonder if I can get other quotes out of it. Everything's mechanically kind of upside down at the moment. That's why it was really odd. We have some futures contracts reflecting, some contracts not. I guess if I put a future contract in compared to spot, it would show up. Well, we'll get this figured out by tomorrow morning, of course. But you can see here on the euro, this is the daily right there. You see this, the strength is there. It's still moving up. We closed in, can I do this? Let me see if I can get this up on the screen too. So I go like that and go into cents, and I go down to there. Let's see if we can get this on the screen. Let's see, there. Okay, there we got something there, don't we? Can I move that over to the screen at all? I guess, let's see. Something like, yep, that's not doing it. Yeah, that could be it. That could be doing it. So right there, if I move that over more, I wonder if I can detach that. Download it? Yeah, there we go. Let's move that out of the way. And then maybe we can bring it up on the screen. Let's see, where's it at? There it is. And move that over like that, maybe. There we are. Something like that. And there we are. And then shrink this one down. Let's see if we can get this moved over. All right, so there you go. So you see it on J4X. You can see the strength moving up. If we can get this thing to move. Why am I not getting this thing? Oh, there it is. There we go. All right, there we go. And as you can see here, let's see if we can find it. Right there. Euro is 12 weeks in a buy. Is that big enough? Let's see if we can make that bigger too. There we go. That's better. So you see there, 12 weeks in a buy and 6 days in a daily buy. I was getting the data last night and yesterday. Not sure why it's not showing it now, but end result is that's the old spreadsheet we always send out to everybody that's asked for it. Hey, Robin, how you doing? Not getting all the data this morning. A lot of data is not showing up. I'll have to deal with multi-charts later on about that. So we're getting some things and not others. How was the birthday? Let's see now. So there's Euro. We see the strength. You can see it's at the top end of the range here. You see that right there. And then you can see right here. Well, we're not getting anything on our math at the moment. So, hello, hello. There we are. And then over on cable, as you can see right, let's see, where's that mouse at? Right there. You see cable is still in a weekly sell. You see that there, but in a daily buy. So we're 3 weeks in a weekly sell and 6 days in a daily buy. So that's kind of like upside down again too, like the rest of them. But I would imagine the more we see with the cable, we were very close to getting into the weekly buy. Let's just put the weekly on the J4X here. We were very close to getting into that weekly buy. Yeah, look at that. It's even turned green there. It was last week. It reflects it. It's reflecting it again here. That curve turning up. And I'm sure when I finally get that data feed working again on the currencies, it'll show that the cable is moving up into the weekly buy also. And that's really where we're at. At least I have a list of. I keep that updated every day of my, where everything is. Like you can see, we have the weekly buys right here, and then the daily buys and sells over here, that type of thing. All right, and so you can see cable playing with that 21 area. We would like to see it move up even more. And we expect to see them all move up against the dollar. Matter of fact, this looks like look at this weekly. Let's make this larger for a moment. Look at this weekly. It's like a reverse head and shoulders, totally. One shoulder, there's the head. You would think that we'll see this area here. Let's turn off the hinkies for a second. And we see here we're pretty much unchanged for the day. Just a little down, Nothing major. There we are. And that is the action we're seeing in both of them. Good. I'm glad. It's a 3-day weekend here in the United States. So, and everything is closed. And there is some electronic trading going on, but we're not getting all the feeds for it. But the markets, in many ways, we could have conversations about the markets for days, weeks, and years, honestly. And then from over there, we take a look at the Swiss. See what the Swiss is up there. We've been a little confused why the Swiss is trying to break away from the rest of the numbers again. I mean, one moment it seems to be in the groove, moving along like all the other currency pairs, and then all of a sudden it finds a way to shift gears again. You can see here, now at least it's doing it right here on the daily. And let's see if we can turn off the hinky for a second just to see the clean bar. Yeah, see, when it's going down, it gains against the dollar. And then when obviously when it's going up, it's losing against the dollar. So that has been this thing has found ways to change its characteristic. But you can see now, you can see here where there's times where it's trying to lift up, which is normal. But overall, we get a little surprised. Every time there's news on Credit Suisse, it seems to have an effect on the currency. That's the thing that really sticks out. And so, we saw the earnings situation about 4 days ago, and out of nowhere, the euro's making money against the dollar, the cable's making money against the dollar, and all of a sudden, the Swiss is not. It's like, why did that stop? What's that frustration? And it must be this situation. I was just speculating, and I've not read it. I've not seen it written anywhere. Just that big money I have seen has been leaving the company dramatically. And, they're trying to break the company up into pieces and sell it off and things like that. So I have to believe that they may be trapped. I think I mentioned this last week, too. They may be trapped the way Deutsche Bank is and Citibank is in the United States, where they have positions on that are so big that they just have to slowly keep the company alive until they unwind down. Now, the last time I saw an analysis on Deutsche Bank at the very beginning of quantitative easing, when it fell apart with the rest of the major banks that fell apart, they had 75 trillion, not billion or million, but trillion in positions, in swaps and so forth. That's amazing. When you think about it, $75 trillion in positions, when I think the German economy itself, the Federal Republic of Germany, has like a $5 trillion economy. Their biggest bank had 75 trillion. And so they couldn't let it go bankrupt. I mean, it would just collapse the rest of the world market that was already collapsed. In other words, it would have been even more chaotic. And the same thing over here in the States, Citibank. And you can see it in their stock prices even to this day. They've never recovered from the crash of 08. Citibank was competing with I guess Deutsche Bank, they were big competitors with swaps. They had a little more than $72 trillion worth. That's pretty big. Um, and then everybody else was way down, like 15 trillion in swaps and 5 trillion in swaps, things like that. I mean, these two particular banks, and I'm not sure if Swiss probably followed the same route. We're not reading any data because they're not showing us any data about what the swap position is. Both, I can tell you now, every so often they make a mistake and they actually tell us where they are in their positions. They put it out in their yearly balance sheet. And Deutsche Bank has cut their swap position down to, it's expired. It's expiring. That's the fear, is to try to unwind it is really dangerous because, they lose $500 billion. Imagine you're taking off a $2 trillion position and you lose $250 billion. Imagine you lose $1/10 trillion. So instead they have to let them expire. They're like options, these swaps. They have to let them expire out. And now Deutsche Bank is down in the low 30s, high 20s. Same thing with Citibank in New York. And that was the whole concept of quantitative easing to begin with. The idea was to stabilize these banks so that they could grow out of the damage they had done to themselves, and then merge them or liquidate them or something of that nature. In this case here, we're seeing it slowly happen. But then you have a scare like we saw in Switzerland about Credit Suisse having these big swap positions that they didn't tell us the size of them. They just said that they had margin calls coming in 2024, and they wanted to get ahead of it. And that's what they did. They started trying to dismantle and unwind things, and that's what drove the Swiss franc up into this crazy high area of like 101, when the rest of the market was rallying the Swiss and the yen for some reason, both of them. So we must, that just tells us something. And what I think it tells us is that obviously there were a lot of Japanese banks that were probably in that position, which would make sense.
Market data connection lost.
When you think about it, if you can't trust a Swiss bank, who can you trust?
Market data
and that's pretty much the way I look at it. And that's probably the way the Japanese look at it. And that's probably the way the rest of the world looks at it. And then the Federal Reserve jumped in and gave overnight swaps or swap positions. I don't know. It wasn't overnight. They didn't even tell us the duration. But they did a lot of swaps with the Central Bank of Switzerland. Their central bank that prop up Credit Suisse, and so that's what I think is really going on in the background. I think the real background is, and I talk about it all the time here. We really think the dollar is way overpriced, and you can see it, like there. Look at that on the Swiss, coming from the, what is that, the 80s area, 85, 86, something like that. I think it's moving in, what's that, 88, 87 there, to running to 101 in a year and a half. It's like, oh, that's a lot of movement. 2 years, that is. It's a lot of movement. For a stable, healthy economy, that's a lot of movement in a currency. But we saw the same thing happen to the euro. The euro did the same thing. It just got pressured to all-time lows. Right there. There's those all-time lows. Going into the end of 21. No, I'm sorry, September of 22. All-time lows. The number, everybody for years would say to me, Doc, when's it going to go below 100? When's it going to go below 100? I said, well, we're in weekly sells and daily sells. It's got a shot at it, that's for sure. So let's watch the numbers. And we did. We got into the sells. We saw it go down to it, challenge the things, and slowly get back into the buy. And we've been, as you can see on the spreadsheet there. Let's go back to that spreadsheet. Where is that at? There we are. And there's the spreadsheet right there. You can see, we're now, we're 12 weeks in a weekly buy. and that's a good run. It's a good good distance out now. 12 weeks in a weekly buy. Something looks odd there. Let me just double check. I just want to open up. Let me just double check one more thing over here. Let me open that one up. I just want to double check something. For some reason, I thought it was 13 weeks in the euro. Let me just double check that. I don't know why sometimes it doesn't save data like that when I tell it to save, and I save as, and I do all those wonderful things. Let's see. Let's open. I'm going to open up because I don't think it was 11. Yeah, I guess it was. It was 11. Okay, so it's 12 weeks now. That's 3 months we've been in a weekly buy. We've been, and you can see here on J4X, on the euro. Let's make it the whole page again. Basically, where is it at? There's 3 weeks, and then let's see. So 10 weeks would be like right there. So there's the low. We went into a weekly buy in here, and been in a weekly buy ever since. So you can see it can't see it on the chart, but you can see it on our spreadsheet right there. Thank goodness we have the spreadsheet. When on a holiday, nothing seems to want to work. All right, and then we just left the Swiss. Let's go over to the yen, and you can see on the spreadsheet, the yen is 10 weeks in a sell there. Matter of fact, you can see in the on the spreadsheet, where's the Swiss at? The Swiss is 10 weeks in a weekly sell also. It's doing its job, doing a good job there. It's holding up. Let's see. Let's go to the yen, and there it is right there. And there's the yen on a daily basis. Coming down. And what a bounce it has been. There's that same look to it again. Lots of bounce going on. QE, quantitative easing, the objective is to create stability for companies to dig themselves out of the trouble that they got themselves in, keep the same people in charge so that they didn't lose their jobs, and that's that stability thing. And then the central banks, especially the Federal Reserve, would hold on to the equity that they helped to prop them up. In other words, their bonds. They would buy their bonds. They would buy their stock. And they'd hold on to them for not just days and weeks, but years and decades. That was the whole idea. That was Bernanke's philosophy with quantitative easing. And so that's where we stand now. Is that we're still seeing, I guess if we put up Deutsche Bank, I think the stock is trading 85% under its all-time high, whereas when you look at J.P. Morgan and so forth, they made new all-time highs no more than like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, something like that, 6 months ago. Goldman Sachs, same thing, all-time highs. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, all of them have made these, new numbers. But, when it comes to, the real damaged ones like Lloyd's of London or Bank of Scotland or Deutsche Bank or Citibank, or Santander or any of those, you don't see all-time highs. All you see is just firmness. I mean, really, Citibank in the United States, this is all related to the currencies and everything else. Is that it's sitting at, I guess it's off 92% from its all-time highs. Deutsche Bank is off 85% from its all-time highs. They've been that way now for 14 years. They've been off their all-time highs. They've not seen anything. In other words, quantitative easing did not save them their asset value. It only saved them as a company to try to grow out of the problem. And they couldn't get anybody to merge with Citi, and they couldn't find anybody to merge with Deutsche. It's just that way. And I guess it's probably the same way with Credit Suisse. They can't find anybody to merge with that, and they wanted to try to pass that problem off on somebody else, basically. I'm sure they would. All right, and then from there, let's jump over to the Turkish lira. See what they're doing with the Turkish lira this morning. And we look at the euro Turkish lira because the dollar Turkish lira doesn't make any sense anymore. But we know that one thing is for sure, and that is the location itself. The idea that Turkey borders European Union and there's commerce going across the borders, that at least there's more cash translation going on. In other words, people were buying Turkish liras to buy goods out of Turkey, so forth, so on, and selling it, and back and forth. And you can see here, and let's just turn this off just to get a flavor for it. Looks like it's up a little bit from yesterday, or on Friday. And when we go back to the Hinky Ashki, obviously it is green for a bunch of days. And you can see, let's go back to this one right here, the Turkish lira. Right, where's Turkish lira? There it is, right. I know I have it on here on the sheet somewhere. Yen, CAD, Zloty. There it is, Turkish lira. 13 weeks in a buy. See that right there, and 6 days in a buy. So the Turkish lira is right there. You can see that. Was it what I say? It's 13 weeks in a weekly buy. So with that low that occurred with the euro and all like that. Matter of fact, that looks like when you really open this up, that does look like a reverse head and shoulders going on. Where is it? I guess it was right there. Was it? No, right here. That one. Which is not a good thing for obviously the Turkish lira or the people in Turkey, because it means that their currency is losing value against the euro. And you can see what it's done just in 2 years. It's gone from 11 to almost 21. It's doubled. Can you imagine that? It's doubled. That's a dramatic thing. I mean, when you go and look at, the euro against the dollar. Let's put that up there. Euro against the dollar right there. Over that same time period, the euro was trading at like 114, 115, something like that. Fell down to 90. Was that 95? That's like a 15%. And then it came back up, and now it's at was at 108 from 115. That's you're only talking about like a 4% differential or something like that, 5%, right around there. Whereas on the Turkish lira, just using the euro as a benchmark, looking at the Turkish lira, the poor thing has gone from the same time period from the 11s to almost 21. It's like, wow. That's a lot of. Can you imagine if the euro was trading at like 60? That's what it would be like, going from 115 down to basically it would be 55, 57. It'd be like 57, 58, almost 60. It would be like 57, 58. The euro trading there, if it moved the same way as the Turkish lira has moved in the same time period, which is pretty dramatic. All right. From there, we shift over to the Canadian. Let's see if I can get an oil market on this. Yeah, there we go. We got an oil market. We're down a little bit today. You can see that right there. And we closed in the weekly buy last week. Right there. Move that line down a little more like that. There we go. Onto the zero line itself. With no action today, because of the United States being closed. So it's like 50% of all trading is out of the United States. Let's take a look at Brent. See what Brent is doing. There's Brent. At least it's up in the 84 still. Looking good. You can see it there. Trying to bounce up. Well, if you're long, let's put it that way. If you're short, then it's not looking good at all. At the same time, let's see. Where are we at here? At the same time, we go to... let's see. So there's the oil. Let's put the West Texas in there. See what that looks like real quick. West Texas. Right there. Doing that bounce up thing. You can see it's the same price as over here. The 755-ish stuff going on. And, 47's bid, 52 offered. It's bouncing around in there. Um, to a great extent, that's what we expect out of energies to begin with. I wonder if we're getting the and let's just go to let's do the South African rand, and we'll take a look at that, and then we'll jump over to gold, see what gold is doing. There it is, right there. Nope, right there. Not dollar Turkish lira. Right there. There we are. 1706. I guess it's popping up again. Let's try to see what the whole thing looks like there. Yeah, they're popping it back up. You know, that triangle type of thing that was going on. I would imagine gold. Let's see if we can get a gold quote off of our work here. Yep, there's gold. Gold is a little down, nothing more than a couple of bucks, but not surprised solely because of this action we're seeing. You know, seeing here all that strength today, and it was doing it on Friday too, lifting. So both days they've been trying to lift the South African rand back up. Again, that's tangled with that chart that we have that says, you know, politics and $500,000 on it. Until that gets cleaned up, or maybe not. Maybe, you know, the way they resolve things down in South Africa, sometimes they just don't. What was it? The last president, weren't they like fighting in the streets for a while? They were, you know, killing people left and right. I mean, it's just when you think that things are working out better, it gets even more worse. All right. So from there, we push ourselves over to, let's see, right. Let's minimize that, and we take and we put, you know, here's the gold right here. And gold, you know, it's been in a weekly buy for months now. You know, since back in late October. And it tried to get into the sell, but didn't, and that was a good thing. Last I looked, my silver chart wasn't filling in. Let's see what silver's doing real quick. Still blank. I don't understand any of this, but we'll get it all straightened out by tomorrow. And then let's go back to gold. And so on our silver, just a quick look on the silver chart. Right, where's it at? Right there, there it is. Silver is, it found its way back into the buy by the end of the week. So it's 11 weeks in a weekly buy and 2 days in a daily buy. Right there, that's the silver action right there. Interesting, interesting. And this situation going on with, let's put silver up on J4X. Right there, and turn off. Oh, it's already turned off. Yeah, I can see the silver's down a little bit today. Trading at 2403. We're putting a little more pressure on it. Nothing major. It's going to take a lot of work, it seems, to get the silver really going. It just doesn't seem to want to take off. All right, and then from there, where do we go from there? I guess from there we go over to the Mexican peso, just to get a general flavor of what's been going on. It's going to be very interesting. You can see the politics pouring out at this point. Mr. Biden seems to have gotten trapped in one of his lies, and he can't seem to get out of it. The media is trying to protect him. They're saying maybe it was all planted. Maybe it was a trick, you know. Evil opposition did it, but not really. It's not really playing out well. Too much evidence. There's Mexican peso. You see a little bounce coming out of that right there. Let's put the hinky on. It's been making those lows, playing down at those new trading ranges. You know, the currency gains against the dollar when both are healthy, both the Mexican economy and the American economy. And now that Republicans are in there, sip of my tea, excuse me. It seems like that pressure is even more louder and obvious what's going on there. So where we're at the moment is the Mexican peso is looking very good, which means more than likely our economy is going to look good, which should mean that we see the dollar kind of chill. In other words, it's not because when the American economy is doing well, they always say that the American economy is the engine to the world economy. So that means that, well, then the rest of the world should do better. So not maybe better than the United States, but do better. And that usually forces money to try to move back into the pairs trades and sell the dollar to many of the pairs trades. All right, and then from there, we slide over to, let's see, what do we got here? Let's see. I guess what we could do is we could take a, I'm not sure if I'm getting platinum. Let's see if we're getting copper. There's copper. And you see copper is trading today, or we're getting a quote on it. Let's put it that way. And you can see it went back into the weekly buy right there. And let's see what it looks like over here. At one time, copper used to have a big influence on Mexican peso. Let's see. Let's go over to copper. Yeah, I remember decades ago people say, look at copper, you can follow Mexican peso through it. That was like 30 years ago and 40 years ago. Now it doesn't seem to have much of influence since we have many factories down there now. So the sale of copper doesn't exactly emphasize how their economy is doing. And you can see right there, there's copper trading up in the 410 area, 411 area, that type of thing. You can see here in the March. This is the February contract trading at 416.80. So I guess that's what that is. 416.15 at 416.19 maybe. I think that's how that's being read. And you can see it's at the top of the range right there. And on our spreadsheet, well, we don't need the spreadsheet, but you can see the comparison on it either way. There's copper's 1 week in a weekly buy and 7 days in a daily buy right there. There's the copper. See it right there. Right there. Weekly buy, climbed back into that buy. You see it there on the chart itself. And there it is right there. And trying to start a second week now into the buy. And then I don't think, last I looked, it wasn't giving me platinum either. There's platinum. Nope, no platinum either. All right. From there, we drift over to, let's see, where do we go? Oh, let's see. Let's take a look at the energies. So we saw Brent was up in the 84s. We see West Texas on the edge of 80. Let's see what natural gas is looking like. Natural gas, right there. There's the American natural gas. Let's see if I'm getting a quote on that. What's that? At 3.5. I think we saw it down as low as 3.3 last week. Nope, not getting a natural gas quote either. Let's turn that hinky off for a moment and see if it's popping up or popping down. No, it's still dropping down. Dropping down. Oh no, it's higher. See, it's higher from yesterday's close or Friday's close. There we are. And on our spreadsheet, our natural gas is, where is it at? Right there. 18 weeks. We don't do the daily on that. 18 weeks in a weekly sell right there. Wow. And when we take a look at it on J4X on a weekly basis, I'm sure it's going to look just as red. 18 weeks. Each one of these bars, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can see we went into the weekly sell up in here just like we did on Chicago Quant, and it's it's had its strengths. There's no doubt. That's correct. I mean you can see that strength there, and if we turn off the hinky. Right there, you can see it. It went higher from 13. I'm sorry, 6. Was it 4.7? Went from 4.7 back up to almost $8. And I guess that was some type of fear of the temperatures. And now that they've had some warm weeks in Europe, it's helped out a lot. You can see we're down at the low end of the range there. And then when we go over to we follow the energy company down in Spain. Let's see what that's looking like this morning. It's been hovering in the 26s. It got down to 24. Let's see if they've put it underneath 26 again. I doubt it, but take a look and see. Right there. 2607. It's right on the edge. And with the temperatures, we have about another week of warmer temperatures, and then we're going to go back into record cold again. So I understand. I was looking at one of the weather data feeds I look at, and there was a town in Siberia that's flirting with its all-time cold day. It's trading. It's trading. It's the temperatures are almost 84 degrees below zero. 84 degrees. Its all-time low is 80. I think it's almost 89. So it's 5 degrees more to go. But I understand that within the next 2 weeks we got a shot at taking that out, and that's going to be interesting. I hope everybody stays warm there. Stay inside as best as you can. 89 degrees below zero. Wow. All right. Let's see. Where do we go from here? From here, let's see. I guess we done all the energies. That's what it comes down to. So here, and we'll drift over to the stock indices. And let's see what they're doing there. Here's the S&P 500. We do see that is feeding in. It's only off a couple ticks from Friday's close. And let's see what it looks like over on J4X. Right. Right there. There we are. You see that strength in there on the daily. Oh, that's a weekly, which is cool. We went into the weekly buy last week. That's good. Same thing here. And you can see it is still in the buy this week too. Pressing up. And let's see. What else can we say about stock indices? It's going to be very interesting as far as I can tell. I'm not sure if we're going to go see the lows of 3 months ago. When Deutsche Bank and all that other stuff went crushing down. What is that? That is 2020. And the lows of, what is that? That is, they're a little under 3,500. It's 3,490 something. I'm not sure if we're going to see those challenged. This stopped there. This does look like a reverse head and shoulders. It looks like a triangle in many ways. In other words, this could be the 1, this could be the 2, 3, 4, this could be 5. But it needs to get higher to finish off the 5. And, in some ways it has that reverse head and shoulders with an extreme pressure on the upside here. Extreme. Look at that. So there's I guess this would be the head right here. This would be 1. I guess this bottom shoulder. Look at that angle it's on. It's like an inside. It's the inside, outside. Another inside days are where you have outside days is when you have a higher high from the previous day and a lower low from the previous day. In other words, outside it goes up higher and goes down lower. And so in many ways we're seeing that kind of noise over a week-to-week basis develop with the stock indice. And I'm not really confident that we're going to see a test of the lows as much as everybody wants a test of the lows. And they're looking for the Fed to flip and do this and to do that and, change of economy. And it goes on and on, the stories every day. But there are some good money managers I've heard who've been in business 40 and 50 years. and they're bullish. They've been bullish. They've been nibbling away for like the last 3 months, and it's obviously that they're right. And they run private, public money, private and public money. So they've been doing a good job about it for decades, and very few of them do. It's amazing. But you would think sometimes that they would have like trillions upon trillions, the way BlackRock does. But end result is that it really has that look like they're not going to take out the lows of October of last year. So 4 months ago. I don't know. I follow our numbers more. We look at the weeklies. We look at the dailies. We follow the rhythm and take it from there. And we don't really try to deviate. We tell you what the stories allegedly are. In other words, what people are saying, and they may be allegedly right or wrong. But overall, we're just not really seeing much more than that. I myself, we let's see, where's it at here? You can see it. We went into the weekly buy. Let's see. Let's open this up again. There. Let's see. Tighten this up. Let's take a look at the October low. Where is that? Right there. And there is the October low right there. And by the end of the next week, we were in a buy from this week in the 38s. And we've pierced through the 41s, and we're through the 4 now. And remember, I don't know if you have to remember or not. It doesn't matter. I had a feeling that we weren't going to press down and end too. And sure enough, we're back into the buy again, and you can see the strength coming out of it. So now we're back into the weekly. You have to wonder. And I thought, let me see if we're getting a fill in on the Russell. Right there. There's the Russell. Nope, not getting the Russell feed. Let's see if we're getting a Dow Jones. Not that either. So all we're seeing is the S&Ps. We're not getting the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's not feeding in. I don't understand it. But we'll get this straightened out by tomorrow when it comes to our work. And what we can do, I can show you what our math is telling us. And that is that the NQs the Tech 100 did not get into a weekly buy last week. It's still in 5 weeks in a weekly sell, but 6 days in a daily buy. So you're not short it anymore. You're just not long it. Whereas over here, you can be both, long and short. And I noted the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I think I could open up something like that. Let me see what I can do here. I can do this because I think I saved some of these things too. So you know what? I can show you some of these now that I have the pictures of them from Friday's data. So let's see, where do we go? Like we have the euro. There is the euro save because we have a client that looks at it. So that's how it closed on Friday, and it's kind of just hanging around in that area now. And that's that long weekly buy. Now, over on, let's see, how do we do this? Get rid of that. And then we open up, say, the NQ. No, I don't have a client that follows the NQ, but we do have the Dow Jones Industrial Average right there. And you can see Dow Jones Industrial Average went into a weekly buy last week also. And it's probably pressing, it's unchanged as I can see it on the screen here. So, it's still showing some strength in there. And that is the action we're seeing when it comes to the Dow. It's looking very firm. Matter of fact, it keeps on trying to climb, and it looks like it's trying to go after that 3,500, and it's not that far off. 570 points is nothing for that product to do in a week. Let's take a look at natural gas. There's the natural gas right there. Doing that same thing with the low. On Friday, we closed at 3.219. Ow! Wow. Only way to put it that way. All right, and we get rid of that. And and see the silver. since we can go back and look at Friday's picture of the silver. It'll jump out in a second. Where are you, silver? There it is. You see, they popped it on Fridays, and they're bringing it down a little bit. Going on a third day of a buy now. Good old silver. Let's see. Let me just double check it on here. So it should be 3. So that's 3. Let's do that. 3 dB. I'm starting to wonder. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Oh, there we go. Robert Simons. What do you think of OGF natural gas? Robin and I were talking about. He's been talking with a trader, an old floor trader from one of the exchanges, maybe the Board of Trade or something like that. And we were talking about that. And I said, he said to me that they were starting to bottom fish. And I was like, well, we've been in a weekly sell. Let me put the chart up again. We've been in a weekly sell for a long time in natural gas. This is the new contract. You'll notice that it does have a hiccup right there. But I haven't changed the big number because, it had been in such a long way. And when this contract at that point may have not been filled in very clearly, or I might have not tried to clean it because back then that was in November. We only follow like 2 months at a time, that type of thing. So when you look at when you look at natural gas, one of the things that's kind of like a freak out. Let's see, let me just answer this. And so when you look at natural gas went from, I was saying to Robin, let me put it up on J4X too for a good example. That's the weekly, and that's natural gas. Excuse me. Let's see. And this will make my point very clear. What I feel. Let's see. Natural gas, where is it at? There it is. Natural gas. All right. When you look at natural gas, you have to remember that natural gas in the States, a little more than 2 years ago, going into 2020 from 2000, it was like right there. I think they made the low at 1.38. Okay. Then natural gas has gone from there up to 10. Okay, you see it there. And now think about the retracement and like that. It could do a 78% back down again. So in other words, 78 back down would be 2.2. I said to Robin, natural gas right now, even with it at 3 and change, is 200% higher than its 2-year low or 2.5-year low. That's something to think about, I kind of thought, I was surprised that well, here's the war, the start of the war right here, and all this fighting with, in Central Europe and the natural gas problems with Russia and all like that, and it was in the 3s, okay, right where we're at now, and it had exploded up. I guess it was anticipating it. That was October of 2021, and I'm not sure what drove it, but in the end, I guess it was Biden. He shut the pipelines down. That's what it was. So Biden became president, and so 21 natural gas went from the low 2s up to 4 and change, and so Biden tried to shut it down instantly the first day he got in office. But you still have to remember, it was at 1.38. It was trading down in that area for a while, especially under the previous administration. It made challenges there too. In when was that? That was in 16 when he came into office. 17 when he got elected. So I think natural gas is going to fall back down more. But you got the European thing going on at the moment, and so that's the variable that you have to watch more than anything else. That's the way I see it. Hey, Mike, how you doing? So, Robert, I think that you have to take it serious. You know that it's already trading at 200% above its lows of less than 3 years ago. So, in other words, it's showing plenty of strength. Now, of course, it ran to 10, which is was up 10 times that. So, that was more of a war problem and a Russian problem than it is a supply. Now, Mr. Biden can't. I understand that we actually exported more natural gas this year than ever before. He can't really stop it with the demand that's out there. He's trying to stop it. Matter of fact, they're trying to outlaw gas ovens, gas stoves right now. I don't know. The left is crazy about all kinds of stuff. I hope that answered some of your thought. Smith says, I'm sorry if I missed it, but could we take a look at a euro? I'm not getting at my feed for some reason on all my currencies this morning. So let's take a look at the euro on a 1 minute basis on J4X just to get a flavor of what's going on. And then tomorrow we'll be able to take a look at, I'll get it, no one's in any of the offices to answer why I'm getting some things and not others at the moment. And so there's a 1 minute. You can see it's come off. That's natural gas. Let's put the euro in there. There it is, right there on J4X, and it seems like it's still gliding down. This is a 1 minute, so it's just pressing down. Let me see let me put it back up on the screen here. Our chart from Friday. Yeah, here's Friday's quant chart on the euro. We'll get it functioning better on. Let's see. I gotta go the other way, I guess. Let's see. Right there is copper, feeders, gold. Let's see. Here we go. Here is the euro. Right there. Here's our quant. And you can see we're 12 weeks now on a weekly buy with no problem. It's holding up very well. I really think the dollar. This is my opinion more than anything else, but I really do believe that the dollar is going to be weaker over the next couple of years. I think it's going to stay that way. I think you're going to see a stronger pairs trades. I hope that answered your question. We'll have it tomorrow. We'll have it working live again, and everything will be working fine. We're getting only certain things live today for the holiday or something like that. But I'm sorry about that, Michael. We'll see if we can straighten that out for you. I know we will. We'll have it all running right. The offices are closed everywhere because of the holiday. So I'm getting S&Ps, but I'm not getting NASDAQ. I'm getting crude oil, but I'm not getting natural gas. Things like that. Some things are just all over the place. But we've had enough fun today, and we're going to get out of here. It's almost 8:30, and we will be back here tomorrow with a more live chart and information. So this is Doc from North America, working handicapped because of the holiday. And we'll have live charts again in every direction by tomorrow. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders.